welcome back to another episode of Why I Love BNI, your podcast spotlighting different BNI members, different chapters on what they love about their business and how they've been able to succeed in BNI. So today I'm super excited to have my guest Ian with us today. Ian, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. So it's always
Yeah.
good to get more exposure, and podcasts are a great way to do that. So
I'm glad to hear. Well, Ian and I met not too long ago, actually. We met through one of the BNI Northeast Florida, the virtual roundtables. And I mean, that was my first time doing it, and I had a lot of fun. And I was just going to different businesses, and I was like, I'd love to connect. Like, I was hearing all these pitches, or I guess 30-second commercial, I should say. And I was like,
mhm.
this is so exciting. There's so many people out there that I've not connected with. So I got excited and I was going like crazy. So Ian, I'm super excited for you to join us today. Why don't you start us off and just tell us a little bit about what you do and how you're helping people?
Okay. Well, I own a company. It's called Appearance First Automotive. So I basically saw the A1A sign. I was like, how can I make a logo and a business out of that? That's how I came up with the name. But I do what's called Paintless Dent Repair. So door dings, hail damage, creases, larger dents, and even fenders and deer hits and insurance claims that I can repair with paintless dent repair. So instead of having to replace vehicles parts or sand them down and put Bondo in them and refinish them, I literally just straighten the panels back to where they're supposed to be. And when done, that's it. There's no need for paint work. If there's even just some minor paint damage, like these little spot of touch up, that's usually better than having to repair an entire panel. So,
Oh
but
my gosh,
most
yeah.
repairs are small repairs can be done while someone waits, or insurance claims or larger repairs may only take a couple of days, whereas body shops they're weeks out just to get an appointment at this point. So
Definitely. That's awesome. I'd love to hear what inspired you to start a company like this because I feel like I don't see a lot of people in that specific type of niche.
well, I've been doing this since 2007, so I didn't hear about it until I went to an automotive tech school. I was going to them in 2003, 2004 for auto body repair. And then got out of that school, worked at a CarMax for a couple of years, and the dent guys would come in, they'd fix all the door dings in cars. And just seeing how much they were able to bill, I was like, wow, this is a great living. This is something that's unique. I don't know anyone else that does this. And then worked at a body shop for a year and saw one of the dent guys come through, fixed a hail damaged car in just a couple of hours, and saw what he billed on that. I was like, okay, there's something here. So went to training in 2007. Um, Worked for a company until 2014, and after that went out on my own and traveled the country repairing hail damage, which hail damage adds up really quickly. So people don't realize how much damage is actually there on a hail damage car until they bring it into a shop like mine where we've got tons of lighting. You can't miss anything under our lights,
Wow.
which is so. But it's it's something unique. Not a lot of people do it, and out of the people that do it, there's not a lot that are able to handle what I'm capable of. So it's I've always taken on the harder damage, the stuff others wouldn't, and that's kind of gotten me to where I am now. So
That's awesome. Okay, so that's good to know that I wasn't like crazy and I was just like living under a rock. Like it doesn't seem like it's that popular, I guess, of an
yeah,
expertise, but that's awesome that you do it. I
yeah,
mean, I used to live up north in Michigan, and I mean, you're talking to me about hail damage. Thankfully, it hasn't happened to anyone I
yeah,
know, but it happens within a flash too. You don't even realize how
yeah.
much damage can happen within 15 minutes of something like that. So
Yeah, most people don't realize that it'll be nice and sunny. Next thing you know, a storm comes through, destroys everything, and then it's nice and sunny again. It's not like here in Florida we have hurricanes where we've got, up to a couple of weeks of heads up on it. So
yeah, I
but
have seen hail though down here. It is
yep.
rarer, but it happens, and I'm like, whoa! I remember the first time it happened when we moved down here because we're still New Floridians. We are like,
Mhm.
it happens in Florida. So you never know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So what's the best way, if someone has maybe never really heard of something like that you're doing, and they're like, I should probably check something out. What's the best way for them to either contact you, or what should they know beforehand before contacting you?
Well, if they want to get a hold of me, they can go to my website. So it's appearancefirstautomotive.com. Or they can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. We've got a YouTube channel as well. And things to know before before contacting me is, if you've been in an accident, so your headlights busted out, your fenders ripped off, that's stuff that's going to require a body shop. But say, somebody backs into you at the grocery store and crunches your doors, if the paint's not blown off or really messed up that way, there's a chance that I can repair it, and I'd like to see it before it goes to a body shop. So
Mm,
if it's something where I think I can repair it, I'll let you know. If it looks like it absolutely needs a body shop, I'll let you know that as well. So that way, it's instead of just assuming it needs a body shop, there's a lot of times where I can repair some pretty ugly damage. So,
wow.
but texting photos, that's a real quick way of saying like,
Okay.
hey, is this something you think you could repair? I can't give a price from photos, but it gives me
Sure.
an idea of what you have. But and then from there, it's if it looks like something I can repair, I'll have you come in for an estimate. If it's something minor, might be able to repair it while you waited.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad that you brought up the texting because I kind of forgot that could be an option because I know a lot of people get
Yep.
busy. They don't want to make the trip out if they're not sure what's going to happen. So that's a great way.
Yep.
So I'll make sure I have all of Ian's information in the description. People can copy, paste, click, whatever makes it easier for you guys to check out and see what's going on. Switching gears just a little bit, you and I met through BNI. What
Mhm.
brought you to BNI? Who was the first person that invited you?
Well, Mark Moss, he's in the BNI Hurricanes chapter. So I'd seen his post on Instagram, and I was like, I don't have anything set up. I need to get something set up. We have a couple of businesses and some assets. So met with him, had him do our will and trust and everything. And so I joined the Hurricanes I was only in there for about a month. This is a
Mm,
few years ago. And this is back when it was just me working out of a van. I was completely mobile. I didn't have a shop to work out of, and it was also during COVID, so everything was online with BNI. So there was no one to go meet in person really, and it got overwhelming. So I was like, hey, I can't do this. And then it's about a year or so ago, Adam Canny, who's in Profit Builders, he's the Wraps Direct. He actually is the one who wrapped my van, and I talked to him about BNI. He's like, hey, listen, come visit my chapter. We're one of the top chapters in the country. We do things a little bit differently. You'll see how it's different. And then visited the Profit Builders chapter. And it's like, okay, I get this. This is structured. I see what's going on here. This is only in person. It's not virtual, which makes it a little easier to not do things. But and then after that, I was like, yep, this is the chapter I need to get into. So I've been in there since I think my renewal is coming up in March. It'll be my
wow.
first full year.
That
Yeah.
congratulations. Well, I know
Thank you.
Profit Builders is a really big chapter. Am I right? Like, how many members do you guys have right now?
I think we're at 103, give or take. So
Wow,
I
that's
don't know if
incredible.
one's dropped off or another one's come in. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, so I've heard from a lot of other BNI chapter members as well. Like people have various opinions on various sizes of chapter, right? Because you can go
Mhm.
from there are 25 people and then there are 100. So what have you really enjoyed about being a part of Profit Builders? Because I know that you said the structure and the size really mattered to you or, made an
Mhm.
impression on you. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the size of the chapter and how you feel inside that chapter.
Well, the size of the chapter, that it is a large chapter, and you do only have 30 seconds for your weekly pitch instead of the 45 or 60 seconds like a smaller chapter. But there's that many more people that are there to hear it. So,
Mm,
with door dings and minor collision damage, that's not something that occurs a whole lot. But when a hailstorm does hit the area, because there's been plenty of hailstorms that have hit the area, they may be small, but like there was one where Mark Moss lives, it hit just his neighborhood, and just one post of his in his community's Facebook group led to over $80,000 worth of work for me. So
wow.
if one member of a BNI group can generate that from a single Facebook post, imagine what 100 members could do. So if hail damage over the last few years, they've been pretty severe cars that we've gotten from the area. They're around $10,000 in damage each. So if I have 100 members each send me one referral from a hailstorm, that's $110,000 jobs. So,
Hmm.
and then you've got the roofer who, or there's a couple of roofers. So we have a residential and we have a commercial, and so if a hailstorm hits, they're going to be slammed with work, but they're also going to be talking to the same customers I'll be talking to. So when someone comes to me with a hail damaged car, I'll be asking, hey, what about your home? What about your business? Was your roof affected? I know somebody can help. Same thing with the gutters guy. Gutters get destroyed in hailstorms. The shutters and the screen enclosure guys, same thing. So they're all going to have the same customers, and it'll just make it, instead of me having to spend a ton of money on advertising, I've got probably a dozen people that are going to talk to my customers.
Yeah.
And same thing, they have dozens of people that are literally talking to the same exact customers. So
Hmm.
it makes it to where, instead of trying to go out there and going through Google where you get tons of tire kickers, you have people that say, this is who I'm supposed to go to. And it it's a different kind of customer when you don't have to convince them that you're the right choice. They've already been
Yeah.
convinced you're the right choice. They just need to figure out if they can pay for it and when they can get it done.
Definitely. And I know that the car industry in general, there's a lot of mistrust there, and there's a lot of trust
Yeah.
issues when it comes to who you talk to. And I'm not saying it's not misplaced or anything. I know there are a lot of guys out there, right, who don't always have the right um end in mind. But
Mhm.
it makes it easier for someone like you go, hey, I just want to help. I just want to help fix your car. I want to make this as seamless for you as
Yeah.
possible. And having that warm referral and someone going, okay, I you've come referred, a lot of people trust you. I see why I can trust you. So let's just see what makes sense. So I'm sure that just makes your life so much easier. Like the mental energy it takes to talk to someone is so much lighter now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the the one thing I would always get would it just be a text message. It's like 9:30 at night. It's a
Hmm.
25-year-old car that's worth $500, and they've run down a guardrail, and they just send a picture of it and say, how much? And it's like, oh, just there goes $8 on Google. All right. I mean, sorry, can't help with that. Whereas with BNI, it's like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Send them on over. And it's the amount of touch points and effort it takes to even capture customers, just it's so much
Yeah.
less stressful. So
Yeah, it's a more enjoyable experience too. It's way more
yeah,
fun talking to someone who wants to talk to you than the other
yeah,
way around.
yeah. It makes it way easier. So
Yeah, well, before we wrap it up, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. You've been amazing, and this
no
is
problem.
this
Thank
is
you.
such a fun niche for me to learn about. I don't know anything about cars, so I think it's always really great when I get a car guy on here and he just tells me everything I should know. So now if I go to a dealership, I know what to start asking questions about, right?
Yep.
But before we wrap it up, what has been probably one of your favorite parts about being a part of BNI?
It, everyone's there to help each other. So
Mm,
that's one thing a lot of the newer people to BNI don't understand is you're not trying to sell to the people in the room. So you're
right.
you're trying to help them sell for you. And that you can tell when someone's new because just how they say things, if you need this, and it's like, I get it. Yeah, okay, what are you trying to get to? Like, who is your ideal customer? That's what you're trying to tell the people in the room. And then
Hmm.
once you start to get that, that's when you can see the light bulb starting to turn on when you're giving your weekly pitch. So
Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense. So, Ian, thank you so much for coming on, sharing a few minutes.
thank you.
I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. And you have
No
some
problem.
really great success stories in there for BNI, and you've not even been there a year. So, huge hats
Yeah,
off and congratulations to not only you, but all your members in your chapter, and of course, Mark as
thank you.
well. So, thank you again for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Of course, and to everyone watching, I really appreciate you as well. And I'll see you next time. Bye.